tell you a bit about myself. And just wanted to put up here, I speak English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Russian to varying degrees of proficiency. And I work fairly regularly working with different people on an international level to help them understand one another. I put some pictures up there. You may recognize a couple of those people there, you may not. The one at the very top there, talking to the guy in the military suit, that is our current Attorney General, Eric Holder. He's in charge of the Justice Department. And then some other folks at the Pentagon and elsewhere at a press conference. So that's the kind of work I do. What is the difference between a translator and an interpreter? ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre un traductor y un intérprete? ¿Alguien me puede decir? Que levante la mano si tiene una idea y quiere decirme la diferencia. En inglés o en español, no importa.
Bueno, Melanie, sí. An interpreter does it orally and a translator does it on paper?
That's right. A translator is working with the written word, and an interpreter works with the spoken word. So the simple way to remember it is translation is written and interpreting is spoken. Good. And we've got a photo up here on the screen. We've got President Obama, President of the United States, sitting next to Hu Jintao, who used to be the leader of China. Now, they were at this international conference. They're sitting next to each other. Hu Jintao speaks Mandarin Chinese, and President Obama speaks English. So how do they talk to each other? Anybody have any ideas? If you do, raise your hand. How do these two leaders talk to each other?
Interpreters?
That's right. They use interpreters. But do you see an interpreter in the picture there? No, there's no interpreter. So how do they listen to the interpreter? Anybody know?
Headphones.
Headphones. You are right. The interesting thing is most politicians don't want people to know they have headphones on like mine. So they use a little earbud. If you look really closely in Hu Jintao's ear, you'll see he's got a black earbud. I don't know if it's Skull Candy or one of the cool brands right now, but it's very low key and people can't see it. But he's listening to an interpreter's voice. So how does it happen? Interpreters make it happen. So President Obama speaks into the microphone he has right here, which you can see. Doesn't want to let me grab the arrow. But right there is a, by his arm. Yeah, move that down again. And it's right there. Now, you have interpreters who are in interpreting booths. And they have headphones on as well. And they're working with a console. They turn on their microphone. They listen to what President Obama says, and they have the ability to listen and speak at the same time. They listen, understand in English, and then they interpret what President Obama is saying for Hu Jintao, who then hears it in Mandarin.
Have you ever interpreted for like a president?
Yes, I have, on a number of occasions. There was a meeting of the Group of 20, as it's called, in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, earlier this year, and I interpreted for President Obama and also for Prime Minister David Cameron and a number of other world leaders.
Are there auditions for presidential interpreters?
Kind of. But they're not interpreters have to pass tests and background checks. So not only do you have to be able to interpret, but you have to have a good record because they're going to make sure that you can be someone who can be close to the president and that you are trustworthy. So they're not necessarily auditions, but you do have to pass a test.
Did you go to college to speak certain languages? Like, what's your certification?
Good question. I did study languages in college. When I went to college, my major was Spanish translation, my minor was Russian, and I also studied Portuguese while I was in university, in addition to living abroad. So my certifications are my degrees that I got, I also got a master's degree in interpreting from the Monterey Institute of International Studies.